Good morning, everyone, and welcome to week 2 of the 12 weeks of Halloween. I'm crafting with you for 12 weeks some amazing and not so spooky Halloween projects for your Halloween decorations and tricks and treats. Today, we are making this large gift bag plus medallion to be handing out treats or decorating your tables. We're going to use paper from the Monster Bash Designer Series paper, and I love this paper. It is so much fun, and we've got traditional kind of bats, and then we have this wonderful Ghoul Gazette background. Some really pretty scrolls, which I used on my bags, haunted castles, a maze full of mysterious footprints and whodunit ideas. We've got some really creepy laboratory bottles, a library full of magic spells and potions. Look at this. This is really cool. It looks like recipes for magic potions. Oh, my niece would love that. And that's not all. That's an incomplete pack because I've been playing with it. We're also going to be using this bundle, the Spooktakular Bash and the Ornates framed dies, to be making our pretty little medallion. Now, this is a really cool bag because the medallion, I glued it, is actually what fastens it together. There was a glue dot stuck down there, I think. Anyway, so that's our fastener and our holder. So let's get busy and let's start crafting. You're going to start with a piece of Designer Series paper, and I chose this ornate scroll piece on the back of that. That's where we have our potions bottles. So I've cut this down to 11.5 by 12. So I just trimmed a half piece off. Now, I trimmed it off the top. If you are using a piece of paper where you have a design that needs to go a certain direction, make sure you snip off that strip off the top. So make sure that your pattern is facing forward and just trim that half piece off the top. Then with my scoring tool, now remember, all of the directions are going to be over on my blog at www.makingmemorieswithmichelle.com. So you don't have to write them down, you don't have to remember them. www.makingmemorieswithmichelle.com. And we're going to score, this is going to be our side panels. We're going to score this bag at 2 1/4, 5 3/4, 8, and 11.5. Then I'd like you to turn it once to the left. This is the top of our box, and we're going to score it again at 2 1/4. And then I want you to turn it once to the right and twice to the right. This is the bottom of our bag, and we're going to score that again at 2 1/4. Put your scoring tool away and grab a bone folder. And let's fold and burnish along all of our score lines. I like to do this first before I make any cuts so that it's just easier. It's easier to score fold whole pieces of paper than it is a bunch of little flaps. So I'm just going to take my bone folder and gently crease along all of those score lines. Okay, now decide which is your top and which is your bottom. This for me is going to be my top. And with your snips, there is a skinny little rectangle right over here, and we're going to cut that rectangle completely off. And if you've chosen a pattern that's hard to see, you can always kind of just fold it in. Now, here on this flap, I just want you to miter that edge because it's going to make it a little easier to close. Okay, just miter your edge. I missed that corner. And then along all of these score lines, I'd like you to cut straight up. And again, if you can't see it, maybe you can see it better if you turn it over. And this morning, I'm going to say no. So just give it a little fold, and there you go. And right here's another fold. And again. Okay, and then remember, if you've crafted with me before or you've done other paper crafting, we're going to just taper in those sides. This just removes some of the bulk. And we're going to take and leave one, we don't have to trim that one down, okay? But this other rectangle, I guess that's a square. And it doesn't have to be perfect. No one's going to see these. These are going to fold in the bottom of your box anyways. Okay, now let's turn it over to the top. And again, we only want this, where is it? This piece right here. This is going to be the top of our box. So we want to remove this single square on this edge. And then leaving this one, which is right next to the square, we're going to cut down to our score line and then all the way across. We don't need any of this. Okay, and then you know how we mitered the little corner on the tiny rectangle? We're going to miter the corner on that tiny rectangle. And here's our box. Now, I've taken a piece of basic black, and this is from the magnolia frames. This is the edge of one of the magnolia frames. And before we do any gluing, I want to put this on here. And I chose this one. Doesn't it look like fangs? I think it's perfect for Halloween crafting. All right, and this is going to be our flap. Okay, so I have somewhere a silicone sheet. So on my silicone, I'm going to run a strip of snail, and I'm using the silicone so that the snail doesn't stick to my paper because I want it right up against the edge. Okay. And then it's like magic. Look, there's nothing there, and it all stayed on my paper. I'll leave that there for just a minute. And I'm going to come over here and put my flap. Okay? Take your snips and trim off any extra on the side. That is kind of spooky looking. Now, fold your rectangle in. This is going to be where we add our adhesive. Whoops. Lay it flat, and this is going to fold right over, and you're going to get it right on that seam. Turn your box over or your bag, fold in your sides. If you have one of these rectangles that you're mitered, that's going to be on the bottom, and here's the top of our bag. And look, it closes absolutely perfectly because all of those corners, all of those sides, we mitered in. Okay, a little snail. We want a nice sturdy bottom. Line that up. And if you need to, take your bone folder and just give it a good press on the inside to hold that adhesive. And then we can take our fingers and just gently press the sides. And our bag is going to close like that. Okay, so let's make our tag. I am using the stamp, again, from the Spooktakular Bash that says, "Eat, drink, and be scary." And I have cut some of these frames using the Ornate Frames dies. And this is just the plain one. And with Tuxedo Black Memento ink, I'm going to stamp and remember to press and hold for about 3 seconds to make sure that that ink soaks right in. And I cheated. I went ahead and cut one of these frames. So isn't this awesome? I love this. This scroll work on this frame is amazing. And here, these two dies coordinate. So, with a little snail, look how perfectly those layer up. Fantastic. Now, I would like, let's see. I have a brand new, I just bought this. I'm pretty excited. A 2 1/4 inch circle punch. I just want that frame to stand out because it's so awesome. Okay, kind of looks like a full moon too. And this is going to hold this closed. Oops, need a little glue dot there. Okay, and so I'm just going to put some dimensionals down across the bottom. Oh, you know what would be really cool? Let's make some little flags. So I have some strips that are measure 2 inches by 1.5. No, I'm sorry, 2 inches by 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to flag the ends of those. Okay, just a little bit of snail to hold them together. You know, I think sometimes crafters need an extra pair of hands. What do you think? I know that would come in handy in so many situations. Okay. Oh, I did that upside down. No one's gonna see. Shh, don't tell. Reminds me of home ec class. I think I got in trouble for some unfinished seams once or 3 or 4 times. Oh my goodness, I still have snail showing. All right. So maybe that wasn't such a good idea on that one today. We're going to let that go this morning. Here's my medallion on here. I am going to take a glue dot and just stick it right on here because somehow I didn't get adhesive all the way down. And I'll sand that off later. So, 2 treat bags, one with flags, one without, but both will be wonderful and they'll hold a lot. I can't wait to figure out what exactly. Maybe I could find some of those spooky socks. That would fit really well in there. Roll them up and stick them inside. What a fun treat for someone this Halloween. Thanks for watching me today. Again, all measurements and directions will be over on my blog at www.makingmemorieswithmichelle, and I hope you have a very happy Halloween. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.